All right, Big Man, today is Thursday. It is September 29th. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. Free swim today. Myself, Chief White Sox Dave. Carl was invited. He is starting 9, though, so we're in the Dog Walk studio. Yeah, he declined. He said, I'm out. I'm not doing it.
I fucking hate you guys.
Exactly. So, yeah, we're just going to be chopping it up here. White Sox Dave, how are you?
I got summoned to jury duty for the first time ever this morning.
First time ever?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
See, this is why I think America's fucked.
Why?
That's a civic duty right there.
Do you want your fate in the hands of this fucking guy?
Well, that's the catch-22 for sure.
Yeah, you can't. You need like the best and brightest on those. You can't just be like, well, random segment of the population. You got to go in, jury your peers. Like that's
Oh yeah, White Sox Dave. He'd get swindled by Johnny Depp's lawyer in 2 seconds.
I don't. What's the difference between
swindled is one word. It's like a honey trap for him.
Yes,
like whatever you want, babe.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I could. I
saw that on TMZ report that he's dating her now.
It's a different one.
Oh, really?
So he had some kind of court case in England, and he had a lawyer there. That's the one he's dating, like this British bird, and the one Camilla who went like something like Camille Vasquez or whatever her name was, the one who was like the TikTok star from the trial against Amber Heard.
Yeah, she's
still with her. I don't know if they're married or whatever, but they kept showing him like all over the place in the news, and because I don't want to like make fun of this guy, but like she's a hot, famous now, successful lawyer who's getting like partnership offers from every firm all over the country, and he's just kind of like a sad sack. I don't know what he does, but it's just like there's certain, you look at a couple and it's like she is way too hot for him.
That gives a guy like you hope.
You think he was instantly worried? Like,
fuck yeah. If you're some sad sack and the whole world is like, I think she's dating Johnny Depp, and everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense, that would scare the shit out of me. Like, my girlfriend's good enough for Johnny. The whole world thinks my girlfriend should be dating Johnny Depp.
He is like busted now, though.
But he's still fucking Johnny Depp.
I know.
He busted? No way, dude. He's still handsome.
I don't think so. I think he's really fucking ugly.
He did not look great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
however,
he's a fucking superstar.
However, he's a superstar, and they fucking inflate and deflate, and they look better and worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the snap of your fingers.
Yeah,
it's
and like, so
he'll look hot, and
he's got money.
I mean,
he's got money.
Once you got money, it doesn't.
Does he though, dude? I heard Johnny Depp is one of the most expansive wine collections in the world.
Oh,
that's probably an
asset.
Investment. Yeah.
Yeah,
but liability.
No, but like
on the balance sheet.
But like not in that kind of way.
I'm googling his net worth right now. 150 million is what it's.
But he's one of those
guys.
He's honestly one of those guys that. But I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is. Maybe he is, but I know he's one of those guys that has made some crazy investments.
I'm sure, yeah.
And done some crazy shit with his money.
Sure.
Like Nick Cage was buying like fucking skulls and shit in New Orleans.
Right.
Like Johnny Depp's like doing that shit.
Let's say
too.
that this number, this 150 million, is wildly off, and he's only worth 20 million. 20 million is still pretty fucking
got it
good.
pretty good.
Pretty
That's
good.
the same thing with like all the guys in the league, like who like go bankrupt and they're like, oh yeah, I'm worth like $100,000. Like they're like, you've seen that on like Celebrity Network.
Yeah,
they still got it like better than anyone else.
Yeah,
right.
Well,
in most cases,
in a lot of cases, depends on like how dire it's gotten. Like, you know, I don't think Antoine Walker wanted to be at 38 years old playing in the Puerto Rican league because he needed the money.
No.
Yeah.
But he's still better off than like a normal person.
Scott Pippen, wasn't he like notorious?
Yeah.
Well, Pippen, sure, but I think there's a lot of guys who blow through their money, wash out of sports, and then they're 29 with no real education or interest or anything outside of what their domain was, and they look and it's like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of that goes on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably a lot of guys who, like, they're not names that you would know. Like, we know Antoine, we know those. There's probably a ton of guys who didn't make 200 million like Antoine or whatever his number was. They made 3 million and blew it all, and now
that's not even a lot of money when you boil it down either.
Right. You can go through 3 million quick,
like
especially that was like the story with Antoine. I always think this story is like tragic, but also kind of funny, where it was like after Patino had been fired, he was like the guy. Remember, he was like employee number 8, Celtics, like big time guy, and they were on a Western road trip, and they were going. I think they were going from playing the Utah Jazz to playing like the Clippers or the Lakers, and they had like a 3-day off window. And so they get done with the game. Everybody gets changed. They're going out to the team bus in the parking lot, and like a big helicopter lands in the stadium parking lot, and it's for Antoine and like 7 of his best friends. We're going to Vegas. We'll catch up with you guys in a couple days. So fuck practice, fuck shoot around, fuck traveling with the team, rehab, all of that. And he was just like, I'm out and I'm going with my guys. We'll catch up to you in LA. We're taking a private helicopter to go blow more money in Vegas. Crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was Vegas. He could have came back with more money.
You think he came? If he's funding 7 guys and they're gambling money like it's not theirs because it's not, I'm guessing that he took an L on that.
Can you imagine being his buddy? Like how guilty?
Dude,
I don't. But it's like I don't think they do.
Sure, maybe they don't, but like maybe they do. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
But like how? That'd be tough. To be like, damn, that was like unbelievable. Maybe he has no regrets either. Maybe he's like, you know what? Yeah, maybe he does not. I don't know. We got to get him in here. He's
still local, right?
I think majority, but we need to get him in here.
Does your old?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I don't.
I
used to work with him.
Yeah,
and he it's funny because we joined a pickup league in Hamlin Park, and before we joined, we heard that like the same night we were playing was like Sean Murray and Robbie Hummel and like all these people, and we're like, oh, dude, we're fucked. And all my buddies were like, dude, can't you just ask Twan if he'll play? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me just go down to the green room. Hey, Twan, like, we've talked like twice, but you mind picking in? You mind filling in?
Yeah,
for
it's
us?
just all Big Ten guard in the peak of his athleticism.
The funny thing is that I bet Antoine would play like every other 40-year-old in the world, where it's like he just goes 3-point line to 3-point line.
I think that's actually true.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of did that in the NBA.
Yeah, he kind of did do that.
He got to a point where he was just a chucker in the NBA.
Actually, I do have a funny Antoine story, but let me talk about ChevyDriveChicago.com first, because they have what you need for the road. Now they want to fuel you for football season, David.
I'm listening.
They want to fuel you, okay? So you can enter a chance to win a $500 gift card to cover your tailgate party, gas to get to the game, and whatever you might need to host the ultimate tailgate. I mean, hey, everyone likes to fucking go to a tailgate, but if you host a baller tailgate, people will remember that. It's a lot.
It's a shit ton of work. And if you got $500 those people are probably putting in $500 a week for their tailgate.
Definitely.
Easily.
Yeah.
If you can,
easily
go to Chevy Drive Chicago. What do you got to do, Ed?
So there's multiple winners as well. So it's not just one and done. So you got a good chance. Enter to win at ChevyDriveChicago.com, and there's nothing like tailgate with a Chevy Silverado. It's really all there is to it. So check out all you need to know about the new Silverado at ChevyDriveChicago.com, and go check out the rest of the Chevy fleet. Make sure you're getting your oil change, tires rotated, brakes fixed, everything like that at a Chevy dealer as well. So ChevyDriveChicago.com's got you covered, everybody.
Finish your story real quick.
It's I don't know. It might not be that great, but one time when we were working, there was someone ringing the doorbell, and it was Antoine's daughter, and she had.
I met her.
Did you? Mm-hmm. And it was her key. She had his keys or something. Like she was looking for his keys or whatever it was, and she's like, "Oh, like I left my key, or I gotta get out and whatever," and. She's like, well, can you go grab Antoine? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I go find him. He's like on set for like the next half hour. And I'm like, oh, like, what do you want me to do? And I forgot exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But it turned into me being asked to go into his coat and take his keys.
That's an awkward moment.
And I'm like,
if you don't know the guy.
Oh my God.
You gotta walk her in.
Yeah. And I forget exactly how it happened, but where I put the keys back. Something happened where I needed to go in his coat, and I was like, I'm about to get absolutely fucking pummeled by Antoine Walker right now.
Yeah.
I mean, why didn't she? Was it like a security thing? She wasn't allowed in or something?
No, she was. I forget exactly the minute details of why. It was either I had to put the key back or I had to take it out. Mm-hmm. It was one of the two. But maybe I had to put it back. But still, like even going through someone's coat, it was like.
I would have just didn't want to look around like that and just like shoved it in.
Yeah, she came to the Bruno Mars night at Uproar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she was.
That's right.
I think we're talking about different ones, but I know he's got a couple. But what were you gonna say, Dave?
On the topic of mooching and the snake draft we just did that came out on Monday, and mooch being a
Derogatory insult.
and that is, I hate being called a mooch in any single way. Like I'll pay for everything before I walk out of the bar without paying because I want to avoid that term. But the tailgate is the place that I fully admit I'm the biggest mooch on the planet. And the people that go out of their way to throw like awesome tailgates, I'm talking about like Tyler, my buddy from Northwestern, plenty of just random people at Bears games that just invite us up. There is so much work that goes into it, and I never, ever have done any of it on my own. I will pay them. I usually just give them $40.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's 40 good, like for booze and the food you're feeding me.
The tailgate, like if you're running a tailgate, I think that's like the number one situation, or maybe the only situation in the world where you're both a king and a servant at the same time.
Yep.
Like you're the king. Everybody fucking loves you. You're the best, but you're also working your fucking dick off trying to like get in. For what reason? Just to be the nice, I guess. But
people seriously love it though.
Yeah, I mean, tailgating's fucking awesome.
It is fucking awesome, but I wouldn't want to be the guy throwing it.
I actually think you said that word for word. We were at a bar beforehand where you could get breakfast and stuff. And it's like, oh, did you eat? And it's like, nah, I think I'm just going to mooch a brat off someone.
Oh, at the...
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll never walk up to a tailgate at a Bears game. At Northwestern games, it's different because I actually know the family. But at Bears
how did
games,
you get to know them?
He DM'd me, like literally 7-8 years ago now.
Through mooch. So you got to know him through mooching them.
He invited me to the tailgate. I didn't just walk up to it, but
we're friends now. I mooched for so long that now we're friends.
No, he invited me to the tailgate. He's like, "Hey, you're at the Northwestern game. I got a tailgate. Like, come over, swing by." And I did.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, I know, but like, I'll never walk up to a tailgate. Hey, can I get some food or booze or anything?
Crazy,
but if like, I'll have my ears perked up, and the second someone goes, "Hey, Dave, you want a brat?" Fuck yes, I do. Like, I'm waiting for it. You know, I'm waiting for that invite to mooch.
That's one of those things too at a tailgate where, you know, if you have a party, it's like, did we buy too much? Like, or if you have a couple friends, did we order too much pizza? Yeah. There's never having too much there. You will always find a taker to take that food.
Oh yeah, you will.
But back to the point about Dave, like how he overcompensates in situations like that. I mean, the number one classic example was when we were on the street walking into the Bears week 1, and the guy's selling ponchos for $5, and Dave goes, "I'll give you a 10." I was like, "What are you doing?"
I wanted to give him money.
Do you know how much that he probably paid for that poncho? It was probably 25 cents a poncho.
That's fine.
So then but why?
But
he's already making like a 5,000% margin.
Sure, but maybe he'll remember me next time.
Wrong.
Maybe.
As the sucker, maybe. He'll remember you for being a sucker.
No, I think he'll remember me as being a nice guy that tipped him $5 on top for providing a service to me. When it was a fucking hurricane, no pun intended.
He set the price at 5, and you're like, no, 10. Why can't you just admit that was nuts?
Because I don't give a shit about $5.
Dave. I thought it was a nice move. He was tipping a man who had to stand in the rain for hours.
Yeah, it was like providing a service. I rewarded him for the service he was.
You guys are acting like he's working like a delivery for some kind of poncho company. That he's just a guy in the street that he's working for tips. He's an entrepreneur. He's choosing to be out there. He set his price. You doubled his. You negotiated against yourself. You don't think that is
crazy is the wrong word. I know that I didn't need to. Of course, I felt that he was doing a good job, so I gave him an extra $5. Who gives a shit about $5? He probably does, since he's out there in the rain slinging the ponchos. I thought it was a nice move. Can you believe this guy?
I thought it was a nice gesture too.
You guys are crazy.
Cheap.
That's not.
Was
cheap.
that drafted?
That's not cheap.
That's not cheap. Frugal.
That's not cheap.
That's frugal either.
It's neither. That's just being less generous.
But it's like, hey, 5. If I was like, hey, I'll give you $250. And haggled with him, that's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's a scumbag.
That's a scumbag. Like,
do you like doing that? Do you like haggling?
I never do that.
Haggling?
I hate it.
But you really only do it like when you go on vacation to Mexico or something. Like, that's what I think of it as, at least.
I like arguing and negotiating.
Do you? Or if you go to like a
I can't
like I've been to like there's Swaparama, if you've ever been to that. Or
what's that?
There's a flea market in
I know what you're talking about.
And it's called Wolf's in Rosemont's parking lot. Like those are the times where you could like really and you know what I mean? Like when like whatever. And
if it's a situation where you're expected to haggle, like we drafted daytime TV shows or something a while back, and I said Pawn Stars. If I walked into a pawn shop, I would have no problem with it. But a street vendor, he names his price. I would never even think to be like, hey, I'll give you $3 instead of $5.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a $10 bill, I would have just handed him a 10 and said, keep it.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
Yeah, like I do hate like getting change. So if it was like that situation, I would probably be like, yeah, just keep it, because I don't want to like I don't know. But you in that situation was Venmo, and he asked for $5, which I guarantee.
I was in a good mood, so I gave him $5 extra. Who gives a shit? I don't even know why this is a talking point.
I think it's crazy to just be like,
crazy is the wrong way to put it. It's not. It's $5. If I said here's $100,
it's almost patronizing.
And actually, so I have an inside joke with myself where
that is the ultimate inside joke.
The gas station where I get my dip from, I call them my dip dealers. The Mexican joint I get my burritos from, I call them my burrito dealers. I've never verbalized it out loud, I don't think, until this very moment. And these guys that make these burritos, this place is only open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. And so you can't really eat dinner there. So I'll get lunch there, here and there. But they make the best fucking burritos on the planet. I walk into the place, they know my order, take care of me, and they have a tip jar. But as Ed knows, and as you know, and everybody at this point, I never, ever, ever, ever have cash.
I was going to say that
and
too.
And they don't have a tip thing on the credit card receipt, which I hate. Mm-hmm. So in that instances, I do have cash on me. The burrito's like $8 or whatever. I'll give them a 20 and I'll tell them to keep the change for all the burritos in between that I didn't tip them at all. For Christmas, I'm giving them a $100 bill.
It's always the same guy?
So it's the same
saying
family.
You're doing
it's like
that?
Yeah.
I want you to video that.
Okay.
Because I don't believe you'll do that.
I will do that.
I do believe
and
that
it's not because you're not generous. It's because you're forgetful.
Oh,
I've been thinking about this for months. Every
why.
time I go in there without tipping them, which is like I'll tip them once every probably 8 burritos.
Do you see my point?
I do.
It's not because I know you would give $100 no problem.
Every single time I go in there, Ed, which is legit like 2-3 times a week.
So if we make it to December
about it.
26th and there is no video of you handing your burrito guy your $100,
I don't want to get the
and
clout,
he's not
though.
going to have the cash. But it's content.
Oh
now.
no,
it's content
that's fine.
now,
That's
so
fine.
it's not. You won't be a douche if you.
And
do
I'm
that.
gonna do it during
you
the
could just
Christmas
send it
season.
to me privately, and we'll talk about it on the show again.
Yeah.
So it won't be on like socials. So
Okay, that's because I don't want like the
that's
clout
fine.
for doing that, and I don't want them thinking.
Look at me, what a good guy.
Exactly.
Then, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll talk about the show, and then I'm sure Harry will just clip
Yeah.
it. But regardless, we'll be. I don't think you'll do it.
Okay. Ryan knows me a lot better than you do.
But you're not hearing my like
No,
Ryan's listening
Ryan,
to my reasoning
Ed,
though.
I go to this place constantly.
Yes, but
because
I'm
it's
going to
legitimately
say
10
you'll
feet away.
constantly go and you'll never have cash.
I could foresee a situation where you go there on December 19th and you like that's your last burrito before Christmas and you forget the money and you're like, fuck, I'll get them next year.
No, I won't do that. If that's the case,
exactly what I'm
I
saying.
will legitimately find the closest ATM, go take out $100, and I will give it to them.
All right, so it's about 3 months from now. So
That's fine. And it's not going to happen soon. It's going to be during the Christmas
Write
season.
this down.
Yeah.
Write it down, Harry.
It's going to be a Christmas gift to them for being great burrito dealers.
In your clip notebook.
there is something funny about calling him a burrito dealer.
And my dip dealer.
And you
my
are
booze dealer.
you're a cash mooch.
That's not a mooch, though.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Kind of.
It's not in any single way.
Kind of.
It's not in any single way.
I do think that you're both kind of right. Like he's a cash mooch, but you're also very hard line about your cash in that situation.
I am.
Right.
I am.
So like
We've talked about this.
You're basically like that $100 you just gave me on Venmo is worthless. I don't want it.
Yes. Correct.
Right.
See, I'm
Because
not.
I have card money. I keep cash money for shit like that.
Yeah.
And when it just constantly goes to the White Sox Dave fund, and I just
Constantly?
get
How many times is?
How many times are you in a casino?
Couple times.
Every time you're in a casino.
Every time. I'm in a
Okay,
casino,
so
yes.
a time or two a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
accurate.
but so that's constant.
Yeah.
No,
So
well,
I do think
constantly
that
when I'm with you.
you're a little
I'm with you every single day. When's the last time I've asked
Well,
you?
we
in a
don't do
casino.
anything here.
Yeah. I would say that you're a little rigid on that, and I do think Dave asks a little too much.
And you
And
can
the
call me
only-
cheap for this.
Yeah.
It does drive because Chase has outrageous fees. So if you take out $100, you're paying like the ATM fee and the Chase fee. That's because it's a non-Chase ATM. You're paying like $110.
Oh, I'm cheap as fuck about that.
I hate that.
pisses
I
me
am.
off.
I am too.
Even though, like I just said, I don't give a shit about $5 or $10 or whatever.
There's a couple things that I just it physically pains me to pay for it. And one is ATM fees, two is parking.
That the parking one's another one of my dad's too.
Yeah, I just like.
Have I told you that story? United Center story from when I was like 12.
No,
I've heard this, but
So,
say it again. Yeah,
we were going to a Bulls game. I remember it was still warm, so it was like early. I think it was like one of the first games of the year, and this is like 1998. So it was before like the West Loop had kind of turned over. So it was still like that was like a dangerous area. So my dad's like driving around. We're coming in from St. Charles, so we've already been in the car for at least an hour and a half, probably 2 hours. Circling around looking for parking, doesn't want to pay the $20 or whatever it was. So he finally finds a street spot, parks there. We're walking away. This guy whistles at him. He goes, "Hey." My dad's like, "What?" He goes, "You give me $50, I won't steal your car. You give me $100, I'll make sure nobody else steals it too." My dad's like, "Fuck." So he just gave him $100. And it was like, you could have parked at the United Center for like 22.
Secure,
Yeah. You could have parked there for 22, but he just like refused. He hates paying for parking.
Hey, that's the gamble.
Yeah.
He's a gambling man.
And the guy was just like, I remember the guy's face, and I was like, I was 12, so I was like very
Stunned,
scared.
yeah.
Scared and stunned. It was like, all right, here's $100, asshole. So, and I'm like, that's
What if the car
fucking
got
ice
stolen
cream money.
anyways? That would have been really funny. In hindsight, it would.
That guy was an honest broker.
You should learn how to hotwire cars, Dave.
Why you say that?
I don't know. I just feel like that'd be like a great like. Do your White Sox Dave knows how to hotwire cars?
Anybody could, I'm sure, but like I hate any sort of.
That's very disappointing.
Is
about
hot wiring
you.
a car still a thing?
I don't know.
Do you remember the 90s?
The movies make it seem like it
Yeah,
is.
but do you remember in the 90s where
All
they
you gotta
had
do is pull out the wire.
Yeah, the 90s they had that device. I feel like everybody had it called the club,
Yeah.
and you would put it on your
Yeah,
steering
yeah,
wheel
yeah.
because even if you hot wired, you couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like no one has a club anymore. So
That's true.
They just wait till you're driving it with the keys in, then they put a gun in your
exactly.
face and
Yeah,
get out of
that's-
here.
that's the easy way.
That's the new way.
Ed doesn't kick. I figured like Ed had a great point because Ed drives a Tesla, as people know. I assume since they're nicer cars, not even nice cars, that they would just be big time targets of carjackings in Chicago and elsewhere. But you're like, they don't know how to drive them.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. People still don't know how to drive them.
Yeah.
So
It's that, and I think it's like, I think there's a lot of joyriding that goes on with these, and it's like, well,
And there's probably like
where are you gonna fucking charge it? Also,
If it
probably
dies, yeah.
it's probably got like the anti-carjack.
Or I don't know if this is true, but it's like if
GPS
you took
locator.
it to a charging station, I'm sure that would like trigger something. You'd be like, oh, like Ed's Tesla was charged at this.
Like a find your iPhone.
Oh yeah, evidence
Yeah.
is, like I could look on my if I went on my app right now, because everything's done through the app. Like I could open my trunk right now if you could grab something.
Okay.
I can go put the windows down, turn the heat on. I could do whatever. Like if I obviously hypothetically speaking, if I were to get carjacked, they would take my phone too.
Yeah.
But if I just ran and logged on someone's computer, I could see where it's at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is tracked.
It has cameras when you walk near it too.
Yes, it
I
has
noticed
that too. So I know if White Sox Dave sideswipes me and he tries just to,
It wasn't me.
swipe under the rug.
I will say this:
see
ever
that.
since you got that car, like the Mercury, if I would have sideswiped it, I wouldn't have really cared. With all due respect,
I wouldn't have cared either. So
I mean,
it's
my
okay.
car's beat to shit at this point.
Dude,
It's not
your
even at all.
car is in rough shape.
It's not in rough shape. It's just
No,
got the
Dave, it's in
long
rough shape.
fucking.
I think the interior is worse than the exterior.
Interior is completely fine.
You got
Well, time out a second. Speaking of your dad parking at Chicago Blackhawks games,
Mm-hmm.
'Tis the season to get tickets.
the season started last night.
Yes.
So hockey is back. Bulls will be back soon. United Center. You're going to be able to get good deals there this year for
Yes.
Hawks games. So
You
get
will.
on Game Time for that.
You'll
Yep,
be able to go for
exclusive.
free probably with if you're a first time user.
Yeah, the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Created by fans for fans, Game Time is a new ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. If you haven't given Game Time a shot yet, I don't know what you've been waiting for. You guys are going to love this app. We've had tons of fans hitting us up on social about the great deals they're getting, and you too can be one of those people going to Blackhawks games, Bulls games, Bears games, you name it. Still, a couple days left here, Cubs Sox? Or are the Sox done for
I have not watched a single pitch since last Tuesday, so over a week now.
Open Moons? I apologize.
But if I were to, for some odd reason, want to go to a game, I'd use Game Time.
But it's your last chance to get that grilled onion smell.
I do love
I'm
that.
gonna
exactly.
miss that. Fuck.
So download the Game Time
These
app, go to the
assholes.
account tab, create a login, and redeem code DOGWALK for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Download Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So the interior of his car is worse, you're saying?
I mean, you got that big rip in it.
It's not a big rip. There's
I
a
mean,
rip that's like.
Didn't think that you get offended by this.
I mean, it's
It's a funny story. You like your brother, whatever. Then you had our old camera guy who like smashed your fucking door on the curb.
That was when I like first got the car, and I wanted to fucking kill him for that. But no, I got a Nissan Altima. It's a 2016, and I'm planning on running it into the fucking
You
ground.
should.
Yeah.
I bet you got a few more years in that thing.
Oh, I would guess at least bare minimum, because I religiously change the oil whenever it's doing everything.
You don't think the outside's in rough shape?
No, the if I'm driving, it's on the passenger side along that door that
Yeah.
you see, because we park in the same spot
Yeah.
every day, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to go and get that fixed, though. That would cost thousands.
That'd be a lot.
So I just deal with
Might
it.
as well just do it. My buddy just bought a car in June. I think he got it June 2nd, and it just died out for good on Sunday. It made him like
Brand new car?
No, it was like he tried it. So he sold. So the thing is like obviously the used car market's like insane right now.
Dude, I have an app that you type in all your financials into it, and it tells you like the net worth of your house, your car, blah blah blah. My car value, it keeps going up a few $100 a month
Yeah.
or
That's
something.
the
I keep
market.
Looking
That's the
at it, I'm
market,
like,
yeah.
why?
So he had like a Jeep Patriot with like very 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 standard car, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like they were offering him like 13.6 for it or something, and it was like 6 years old, like
Yeah.
six, I don't know, like had miles on it. And he's like, oh, like I got to take this deal. So he did that, and he bought a beater, and for like 33 grand or something. And it just
What do you mean a beater for 33 grand?
3,100.
3,300,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 3,300. And didn't
last.
just like
Yeah.
Get crapped out.
Yeah.
That like I had that black Jeep Liberty for like forever.
I remember that thing.
Yeah.
That was a beater.
That got beat to shit too. But so beat to shit that when I moved to the place on Thomas Street, I didn't have parking. So I was like walking to work. So I just left it in my parents' driveway in St. Charles. I'm like, I'll figure out what I'm going to do with it. Just give me, a little time, blah, blah, blah. And I would say about maybe I went back and like that was in like February of 19. And then I went back there in August. And the car was gone. I'm like, where's my car? My dad's like, I had somebody pick it up, got rid of it. I was tired of looking at it. so it was like, because it had like no value. But my dad just like, he was annoyed by looking at it parked in his driveway. So he was just like, yeah, like, I'm like, did you get anything for it? He goes, no, like they just junked it. Like that car's
Back
dead.
in like 2013 or 14, I bought an Infiniti like Q32 or whatever they're called. It was a little sedan, and at the time, it was a 2002, I want to say, I bought it for $1,300 from this dude in Lamont that lived in like a fucking mansion. Had my buddy drive me down there and everything. But if you bought the car like when it was brand new, it was like fully loaded, leather seats, sunroof, CD player, like everything. It would have been a nice car, but whoever had it before me completely beat it to shit. It was rusted out and everything, but I needed like a A to B car because I was broke at the time as like a 23 or 24-year-old or whatever. And I was driving home from my old job one day, and I hit like a pothole or something in the like little bracket thing that was holding the muffler up. It just broke through. So I drove the entire rest of the way home, which was only a couple miles, with the muffler dragging, and I could see like sparks flying and shit in the rearview mirror. I just needed to get it home. I literally got under the car, took my belt off, wrapped it around like the support beam thing and the muffler, and just tied it up like that and drove it like that. And eventually I got so sick of looking at that piece of shit, I sold it to the city of Evanston for $250 just to part it out. And they came and towed it away and gave me the cash.
There you go.
Yep.
Very.
Whatever happened to the Mercury?
The Mercury?
Yeah.
Sold it to a guy who that works at a car wash.
Oh.
Yeah.
How much you sell it for?
Forget what it was. Not much. Like,
A couple grand?
no, not even.
Yeah.
Less than two.
Yeah.
Less than two. Which stupid if I would have held on to it a little longer now.
Yeah.
Like, probably could have got like three.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It says I could get 10,000. I paid 15 for that for the Nissan. It says I could get 10,000 for it.
It's because nobody can get a car. Do you know like
crazy.
Do you know what there's what the supply lines are so bad? You know, like the Ford logo, they're kind of like a sticker that's
Yeah.
like the blue with the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ford can't even get those made. So like they're having like production halt.
Did I tell you the Audi story?
No, I don't
I
think
didn't
so.
tell you that. Well, yeah, I don't. And I told this. Someone said it was bullshit, but this is what the guy told me. So I mean, I'm just going off a secondhand story. No, someone who recently bought an Audi.
Okay.
That they're having like the chip crisis or whatever. That this guy bought an Audi and they're like, hey, here's the only issue: you could set your seat, but if you need to reset your seat settings, you need to come back to the dealership and we have to do it for you. So like if you and Chief shared a car, a little bit of a leg discrepancy, you would like need to go all the way back to push the seat up for you and put the phone book on there for you, So it would be.
You're the same height as me, Ed. You fuck.
I'm kidding.
Dave's got to wear like roller skates to reach the gas pedals.
That's crazy though that they're not getting that made.
Yeah. It's like think of a product, you can't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's bad.
And Chevy's giving away tailgates. Just so
Fucking
everybody knows.
Thank God for Chevy.
Shout out to Chevy. ChevyDriveChicago.com.
They got their logos made, no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Iconic.
Yep.
Do you want to get in? Do you want to get into Dave Portnoy Show at all or no?
I don't care if you want to.
Yeah, we can get into it a little bit on the show.
Sure.
Here. Yeah.
What do you do?
Whole lot of nothing.
For real?
No, not for real.
Any comments on? You had a couple days to soak on it.
It was. What was that record at? Like 9 a.m. on Monday.
Yeah, it was Monday morning. Monday afternoon.
No, like he's asked me what I do, and I was like, obviously spooked by the question. I thought he was gonna rip on me for a first pitch fuck up and just make fun of me for something. But when I got in here, he's kind of a little spooked. I know, like as you guys all in this room know, I do my job as much as anybody and more than a lot of people, and that's all there is to it. Like, there's a million fucking people coming at me on the internet right now, like on Twitter and Instagram DMs, email, everything, which to be expected. Like, oh, do your job, you fucking loser. It's like, I didn't even fucking list half the shit I do. I didn't list the gambling streams that Smitty and I do, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it is what it is, but like, I'm comfortable with the amount of work I do, and I know I'm not like stealing money in salary from Barstool Sports. I know that this is a profitable office, in part because of me, on top of everything else that this office has put out. So, like, it is what it is.
Chief?
Yeah. I mean, look, I feel like it's subjective when they want it to be subjective, and then it's objective when they look at like the blog and the page views. Mm-hmm. So I wish that there was like a more concrete way to look at what's being done, what's generating revenue, things like that. That a more holistic look at it than just like picking out one thing and then ignoring other things. That's how it feels like to me sometimes. But that's I'm not in charge, so it's like Dave's been doing it for 20 years, so he's going to determine the value and how he sees fit.
Like, this is, and he agreed with me on this point. So years ago, not even years ago, like right when we got hired full time, it was the blog was the Wild West. You could publish basically anything you wanted. There was no editor looking over your shit. If you publish something stupid, obviously Francis is the first thing that comes to my mind. I don't know if he had to run that through an editor or not, but obviously it got him canned originally. He's back, so all is well that ends well. When we first started, just because we had to kind of find our way as an office and as individuals, I would publish shit that I knew I shouldn't be writing about because it wasn't in my wheelhouse, but I would do it just to get a blog out there. Now we have a great system where Nate, Hubs, and the rest of the editing staff, formerly Coley, they kind of slot everything, and if there's 3 people working on the same blog, obviously they're going to put out the best blog of the 3. So I use Francis as an example on the Dave Portnoy Show. If I see something that like is not necessarily in my wheelhouse, I'm going to defer to letting other people write about it. So I'll refresh the blog in the back end to see if anybody's working on it. For instance, the baseball video that we were talking about on the show that went viral, I didn't blog that until the next day. 10 other people could have blogged that. It wasn't blogged. So then I decided to blog it because it wasn't on the blog. I don't think I'm a great writer compared to the great writers we have on this website. So I'll defer to those guys first. If nothing's written, I'll gladly jump in. But before, I would just write the blog and click publish, and there's your blog, even if it's a shit one. You know?
I think that the counter argument to that line of thinking, which I don't necessarily think is wrong, but
I mean, Dave agreed with that anyways.
I'll finish but he's also saying like he wants you to blog more. So here's the solution. I think for that is when you say, "Hey, I'm going to let Robbie do a Throne or Clem do a Thrones blog."
Yep.
Okay, and they have a take about something that happened. Then you can have a take on the take. And it's like,
Definitely.
so it becomes an argument on the blog. And that's something that used to happen all the time.
Definitely.
And I feel like we've kind of gotten away from that. It's not something that I do a ton of, but if you're using like, hey, I'm going to defer, I don't think that you.
Excellently put. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Actually,
think you should
Nate said
defer.
that. I'm forgetting the exact example. So a little behind the scenes. At least me personally, I'm in I don't want to say constant contact with Nate, but I talk to him pretty regularly throughout the week about what goes on the blog from me. He kind of complimented me. This is like maybe a week or 10 days ago. I forget the exact blog, but I did exactly that. I think it was a Kelly Keegan blog or something. I don't know. Kelly Keegan had a blog on something where I'm like, oh no, it was the Adam Levine thing.
Is there a reason why you're using government names?
Oh, Keegs. Everybody knows their fucking name.
Thank you. I actually think people don't, but continue.
I'm pretty sure they can put two and two together.
Kelly, you know her.
Yes, I think everybody knows her.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, she didn't even include the Instagram model that Adam Levine was.
Yeah, great
creepily
point.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I did that, and Nate's like, we need more of this. We need more of this. Point well taken. But even Dave like agreed with that. So like before, I would just put shit out that would be a fart in the wind. And it'd be a three-peat reblog of this exact same thing, but obviously your blogger numbers are up because you have more out there.
Yeah.
Now the blog's like a well-oiled machine where you don't need to do that. It's quality over quantity.
See, and how
do you weigh that a
I
little
would
bit?
also say that I disagree, or it feels like either a shift or a contradiction of things that he and other people have said historically about, like he references Robbie. Where it's like, hey, Robbie's a UFC guy, and how did he become the UFC guy? Because when UFC news breaks, he's the guy to do it, okay? So you can't say like you want people to be that, which he has said, and uses Robbie as an example, and then when it's like it's your thing, you should not, like you said you spent 4 hours on a blog. You should never spend 4 hours on a blog.
I said 2, I think it was.
You said 4.
Did I say 4?
Yes, 4.
You said 4.
But it was long. But there was like points where I like drove to the office and finished it.
Okay, well, that doesn't fucking count.
I mean,
But-
that's a fucking.
I mean, it was a 4-hour time frame where I was
where
running
you're
on
working.
this.
Sure.
That's
okay.
The Irishman in an episode of The Simpsons, Dave.
What?
That's like watching The Irishman in an episode of The Simpsons 4 hours.
I
Yeah.
don't have any
That's
idea
all.
what reference.
The
you're
Irishman
talking
is a movie with Al Pacino.
Oh.
That was on Netflix. That was very long. And then
Yes.
Right. So
now I get it.
And plus we caught up?
about. Yes,
Okay.
I thought he was talking about a specific episode
No,
of
no,
The
no,
Simpsons.
no, no, no,
Now
no.
I understand what
Okay.
you're saying. Yes.
So
okay.
my point
That's
is like that's too long to spend. But if you want to, Dave has always said like you want to have people that go to you when something happens about a specific thing. Like you want to dominate that. So like the Blackhawks are the worst team in the league. I'm still going to write Blackhawks blogs, and because I know I have a hardcore audience, so that when Patrick Kane leaves, okay, eventually, or Jonathan Taves leaves
People will be
eventually,
going to you.
I want
Yeah.
people coming to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't get that reputation unless you're consistently working on that specific thing. It's just unfortunate. Like I think about this often that the Blackhawks haven't done anything in 8 years. I wonder if they had been able to keep being successful for 8 years, what my following would be. Because
Double, triple.
maybe,
Yeah, exactly.
Probably double, because they just like hockey. It's unfortunate. Like that's my thing is that I have a bad team in a niche sport that like so the audience gets smaller. But if they were good and I was the Blackhawks guy, like we saw what YP did in a year with the Blues when he was but that really mattered. And Barstool's bigger now that it allows you to do that in a way that even like the technology wasn't available for like Instagram lives in 15 when the Hawks were good. So like I wish the Hawks were good, but like you should like have a thing and work to cultivate that. And that's something that has always been preached here. And now it feels like, so I thought that was a little odd that he said
I didn't
that.
understand that either. I mean, Dave Portnoy, as a backstory, like when Neil, and a lot of people that are listening to this won't even have a fucking clue who Neil is. Neil is the OG Barstool Chicago guy, and Big Cat came along shortly after him because Neil was not performing up to
They
standard.
overlapped.
But I mean, Neil was hired first, though, is my point. Neil hired me around the same time as Big Cat, and Neil's like, "Hey, what do you want your like username to be, like your screen name or whatever?" I'm like, "I don't really. Everybody just calls me Dave, like so you can just use Dave." He's like, "All right, that's cool with me." And comes back 10 minutes later, and he's like, "Dave Portnoy doesn't want 2 Daves on the website. You're White Sox Dave." I'm like, "That is the corniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life," but sure. And this is when I was like 22 years old. So like that's what I brought up to Dave is like, you named me White Sox Dave and hired me specifically to cover the White Sox. I think I've done a pretty good job at that.
Yeah.
Over the last decade.
You're getting
now
the Portnoy Show just released a graphic with it just murdered you. Murder.
I'm sure. I don't
murder.
care.
This is your weekly schedule. It's a murder.
I don't give a shit.
Just saying, just letting you know, since you're not tagged in it, just letting you know that you're getting murdered by the guy
and
who
thanks
hosts
for the
show.
sabotage, Ed.
I don't think it was
Hey,
sabotage.
what? I didn't even bring it up. Gaz did.
I mean,
that's
it's your
the
people.
sabotage guy.
Gaz is my people.
Gaz is a Portnoy guy,
was
and Gaz is a murder guy.
There was no if you watch the show, it's clearly your name was brought up because of Gaz.
Yeah, and no one gets more shit from Dave than Gaz, and Gaz has been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he gets the most shit, so you just got to roll
That's the
with
thing.
it.
I mean,
I mean,
that
like I
like
said-
I'm not going to call anybody out. But people are like, "Oh, get into the top 20." First of all, the list that he was referencing are released on Tuesday. I was in the top 20 this week, and that was
where were
based
you?
on last week, 20th. It's top 20. He said, "Better be on it next week." I was on it, and that is everything that was written prior to the Dave Portnoy Show because it was last week's numbers.
Yeah.
And there's 100 people that are technically bloggers and content or whatever on the site now.
that's it's interesting how it is with Dave, right? Because he wouldn't say that to everybody because clearly there's people with
Of course.
less productive outputs than you, and like there are like you look at the list and I'm, like you said, we're not going to call anyone out. Everyone people know who they are, and it's in a weird fucked up way. The fact that he could yell at you and like get mad at you about it is like weirdly good. But like I don't know.
Why is it weirdly good?
Because like Dave also values people that he knows he could tear into and like not worry about.
And
like,
I don't mind being the punching bag so long as, especially with like shit like the first pitch. Like I knew I was walking into a hornet's nest. I'm still getting shit about it, and I'm laughing right along with people.
Oh,
You know.
yeah, right.
But this is like there's so much more that people don't have any fucking clue what they're talking about. And Dave Portnoy has a stan army, and that's a great thing, I think. But when you're in his
telling me?
crosshairs, like
I deal with it every week, pal.
yeah, it's so you get it.
Yeah,
and it's like people are coming at me. It's like, dude, you don't have the first fucking clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, and here's my last 2 notes. Is I don't know. You know, people say like pocket watching, like watching what people are making and stuff. I don't know. There's this weird thing where like people are like workload watching at
It's
Barstool.
a weird. I don't give a flying fuck what.
And I know the argument
anybody
is.
outside this
I know
office
the
does.
argument is like I know the argument is. Oh, it's such a great job. People who are on the outside would kill for the opportunity, and I understand that completely.
And it's true.
I do, but like, man, if it's and it's also like the job we signed up for, so that's how it is. But like the people commenting, I would just love to see their
like
their workload versus yours, Dave.
And that's the thing. You're commenting either one, you don't have a job. 2, you're commenting on your job, so you're not doing your job.
well,
All these fucking weirdos coming at me throughout the day. It's like, dude,
they could be a different shift, Dave. They could be over
or of course,
and look at everybody looks for reprieve during their workday. That's not
Absolutely.
right. And I'm glad that they come to us, even if it's shitting on us. I'm glad they're still like they care. So, but I would say that I think that is an element of this job that, at least for me, is like we just did the insults draft. Like there are times where like the internet bothers me. And it's like those comments like, it just drives me fucking crazy. And other times it just rolls off you because it does, like, it kind of comes in waves where it's just like, man, like, you guys, like, you don't, like, you're slinging mud and you don't realize that 200 other people have already said something similar in the last hour.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I wonder how you would stand up to that.
And I just
How they wouldn't be able to. Many
I
of
don't
them
know
would.
if they would or they wouldn't, but I don't think they've
Many
thought
of
of it
them
that
would.
way.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it, this one doesn't bother me at all. Like, I shouldn't say at all. It's like when I've been in his crosshairs before, it's gotten to me big time to the point where I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. And this time, like, I just don't care that much. I'd say it's like a 2 out of 10 on the care scale because I know what I do is very appropriate amount of work for Barstool Sports. I really am comfortable saying that. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I
don't-
articulated it very poorly, which I articulate everything very poorly, but like I know exactly what I do.
I don't know what that means though for Barstool Sports, because then it's like you are comparing yourself to other people in the company. And I don't know if that's like the best way to look at it.
I might be, or like I know that I work hard, so
Okay.
I'm like these people can think what they want, and in the end, like
Yeah, sure.
you have a wrong interpretation. I'm sorry.
Do you think you're in for a rude awakening once Big Cat gets here?
No, I talked to Dan last night for a little bit.
I think in one way you are.
In what way?
Respectfully, if we could have a respectful
go ahead.
conversation. Like watching White Sox games, like leaving work to go watch White Sox games, like you're probably going to have to do that at work now.
That's fine.
You know?
Do you-
and like I'm sure you're fine with it too.
No,
Like, I don't- but,
that's the
like,
thing. So
but
I say that,
respectfully,
like,
know,
am I
like,
supposed to? Do you want me to, like, because that's what he's talking about is the late night streams that we're going to be doing a lot more often than we do now, and we do those for big games. Here right now, I mean, we streamed the White Sox games for the playoffs last year from the office, but
We did? I thought you went to New York for that.
We did. We streamed one game here. I was at the game with the Cusack thing, and then I streamed
Marty
the
was
first two
here with-
games.
Yes.
He's wearing the Yankees jersey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I streamed the first two games from New York. So, but was I supposed to stream the White Sox clinging onto a 500 record against the Tigers this year? Who wants to
No,
watch that
I
shit?
do think, and I was just saying that with Carl too. Like, you know, like let's say that our Bears coverage is lacking. Like, you know, and that is a thing where it's authenticity wins. So I try to do Bears blogs, but I can't, like, I don't think anybody wants to sit there and watch us be miserable seeing a team that can't complete a pass. Like the game is awful enough to watch. You don't want to watch us watching an awful game.
and the Bears for me are number 3 on my, like, I like the Bears. The Bears don't really control my emotions like my first two teams do. So I'm not going to sit there and get all fucking and put on this false front of like, oh, I'm the diehard, I'm the Bears man, I'm going to face paint and be this for the camera. Like, when the Bears stink, which is pretty much perpetually, like, I'm like, man, this team fucking sucks. And it pisses me off a little bit. And then the next day I'm like, whatever. My other teams, they control my fucking emotions. If you guys want to watch me stream a Northwestern game, it's not fun because I'm sitting there spiking the remote, swearing at the TV.
Sounds fun.
But
Yeah, no, I think everyone is on the same page. But I'm not, you know, I'm actually looking forward to that element.
Yeah,
No,
my only thing I regret not saying is like I think some people will be fine. I think some people in New York are in for more of a rude awakening.
I would agree.
That's the thing. I'm embracing this.
I can't wait to be in Dan's orbit.
I can't
know?
wait for it. I'm like,
we haven't
Dan,
had the chance. I mean, it's
We
like
never.
the way I compare it to is like Dan's like our high school friend, and now he's like with his buddies at college, and like we just kind of sit at home and like see him having all this fun and doing all this stuff, and you're like, damn, dude, that seems sick.
And
You know
how
what I
much-
mean? And like I am fucking excited for that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
to have
can't
that
wait for
opportunity on their stream, and like
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
and people are saying rude, like, and I don't even know who said the words rude awakening. I'm just
Dave.
using what Dave said. That's not a rude awakening. First of all, I'm like I told Dave, you and I especially, and Carl, we're morning people. I'm up 6:30 every day. Like, my day started. You know, I'm out of bed going.
Unless if you're gaming.
I mean, that was a 2020 thing.
Yeah.
I don't even really do that anymore. like hardly ever, every few weeks or whatever. But so like early mornings is not an issue. Late nights, obviously, that kind of contradicts what I'm saying, but like that's not an issue, especially if you enjoy what you're doing, which I really think it's gonna fucking crush it once everybody's settled out here. I could not say that more emphatically. I really think that this office is gonna.
I mean, you're
take off
exponentially.
exponentially.
It's gonna benefit you the most for sure.
I already
And
told you.
I think you know that too, right? Like I think so in my head. And like I said, respectfully, once again, you're not when it comes to planning and like working on logistics stuff. Not your strong suit.
The logistics guy?
No.
That was a different kind.
Oh, if he needs to get someone to move Monster to fucking
Yeah,
Boulder,
he can do
Colorado,
that.
to
I'll
fucking
do that.
Cincinnati, Ohio,
Snap my finger.
he's your guy.
Right.
However,
Can he
just
get himself somewhere?
if you need White, if you got to.
I'm never late or anything.
I'm just joking. Dave.
But like if you're
I understand
if
what
you're
you're
looking
getting
for
at, though,
White
yes.
Sox Dave to put the bases down and line the fields,
Not the guy.
probably not going to go great.
I'm not the guy.
But if you need to come in
1000%.
and fucking start a ball game, play fucking second,
Let's take
great
it.
guy.
Let's take it back to where we started with the tailgate conversation. Okay. If you want to have a great tailgate, you want Dave there. He's fun.
Yeah.
You want you
This
don't
is
want
perfect
him.
analogy.
You don't want him to plan it. But
No,
if he
I would-
shows
oh
up,
my
you're glad
God.
he shows up.
a White Sox Dave playing tailgate would be.
Don't even. Oh, Dave, you should plan a tailgate for content. No, I'm not.
That would be funny. Though.
Show up. There's like no plates.
Danny, go get
No, it
fucking
will
plates.
be, yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
either be all meat, no buns, or just buns, no meat. Like one or the other.
Someone else is supposed to bring the meat.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, I think we touched on this a lot.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank
right.
you sincerely for supporting us. If you do, we'll see you Monday.